What is the difference between Renegade Daleks and Imperial Daleks? Remembrance of the Daleks defines Renegade Daleks as blobs, and Imperial Daleks as bionic blobs with bits added. But is there more to it than that? In short, the Imperial Daleks are Daleks that were created by Davros at some point following his encounter with the Doctor on Necros that we saw in Revelation of the Daleks. In that story, Davros was attempting to create a new race of Daleks, known as Necros Daleks for convenience, which were loyal to him alone. He placed these new Daleks in white and gold casings, but the majority of these Necros Daleks were destroyed when the catacombs beneath the Tranquil Repose facility were caved in at the conclusion of Revelation of the Daleks. Only a handful of Necros Daleks survived, taken with Davros aboard a Dalek ship, and these later ended up on Lethe with Davros after the ship crashed there. These damaged Necros Daleks continued to serve Davros, now calling himself Vaso, as he engineered a new race of Dalek killers which he called the Juggernauts. But both the Necros Daleks and the Juggernauts were destroyed when a Dalek task force arrived to capture Davros. So, how did Necros Daleks become Imperial Daleks? Davros was eventually captured by the Daleks and taken for trial, which they had planned to do at the end of Revelation of the Daleks. There are several conflicting accounts of Davros' trial, so it all gets a bit muddled, but the general consensus among stories of the trial concludes that Davros was able to sway certain high-ranking Daleks to declare him the new Dalek Emperor, in defiance of the Supreme Dalek, who currently ruled the Dalek Empire. The Supreme rallied his allies, Davros rallied the defectors, and the initial lines of the Imperial Renegade Dalek Civil War were set. Davros began creating new Imperial Daleks using Dalek mutants with cybernetic parts added, which not only made them innately loyal to him, but also gave them additional capabilities, such as a giant choking claw for grabbing pesky humanoids. But how did the true Grey Daleks end up being called Renegades? In an interesting twist of fate, the original Dalek leader, the Dalek Supreme, ended up ruling the faction that came to be known as the Renegade Daleks. This is largely because Davros took over Skaro, the Dalek homeworld, and as he held the title of Emperor Dalek, he was technically in command of the main Dalek faction. The Renegade Daleks were combat veterans, however, and their ranks were filled with Daleks that had seen many conflicts. This is reflected on screen in Remembrance of the Daleks, where two Renegade Daleks are able to hold their own against twice as many Imperial Daleks, and even cause them to retreat. The Imperials, meanwhile, rely on the Special Weapons Dalek to gain the upper hand, despite their numerical advantage. In audios like We Are the Daleks and The Curse of Davros, the Imperial Daleks depend more on guile, using infiltration and manipulation to achieve their ends. The Renegades, meanwhile, are more dependent on combat tactics, and prefer the approach of direct confrontation, as shown in Revelation of the Daleks and the Juggernauts. The Dalek Civil War would come to an end when the Renegade Dalek and Imperial Dalek forces were wiped out during the Shoreditch Incident, which saw Skaro devastated, the Imperial Dalek mothership destroyed, and the Supreme Dalek and his forces utterly annihilated. The Daleks would survive, however, as Davros would go on to establish new factions seen in Terra Firma, and the main Dalek Empire would continue, eventually building back its forces and waging the war against the Time Lords across all of time and space. If you liked this more lore-focused style of video, please leave a like and a comment saying which aspect of Dalek history or lore you'd like me to cover next.